Lesson 21. I am determined to see things differently. The idea for today is obviously a continuation and extension of the preceding one. This time, however, specific mind-searching periods are necessary, in addition to applying the idea to particular situations as they may arise. 5 practice periods are urged, allowing a full minute each. And the practice periods begin by repeating the idea to yourself. I am determined to see things differently. Then close your eyes and search your mind carefully for situations past, present, or anticipated that arouse anger in you. The anger may take the form of any reaction ranging from mild irritation to rage. The degree of the emotion you experience does not matter. You will become increasingly aware that a slight twinge of annoyance is nothing but a veil drawn over intense fury. Try therefore not to let the little thoughts of anger escape you in the practice periods. Remember that you do not really recognize what arouses anger in you, and nothing that you believe in this connection means anything. You will probably be tempted to dwell more on some situations or persons than on others, on the fallacious grounds that they are more obvious. This is not so. It is merely an example of the belief that some forms of attack are more justified than others. As you search your mind for all the forms in which attack thoughts present themselves, hold each one in mind while you tell yourself, I am determined to see, name of person, differently. I am determined to see, specify the situation, differently. Try to be as specific as possible. You may, for example, focus your anger on a particular attribute of a particular person, believing that the anger is limited to this aspect. If your perception is suffering from this form of distortion, say, I am determined to see, specify the attribute, in name of person, differently.
I'm feeling to read a short section. From the Holy Instant and the Attraction of God. Chapter 15, Part 9, Paragraph 2. Our task is but to continue as fast as possible the necessary process of looking straight at all the interference and seeing it exactly as it is. Our task is but to continue as fast as possible the necessary process of looking straight at all the interference and seeing it exactly as it is. For it is impossible to recognize as wholly without gratification what you think you want. It is impossible to recognize as wholly without gratification what you think you want. The body is the symbol of the ego, as the ego is the symbol of the separation, and both are nothing more than attempts to limit communication, and thereby to make it impossible. For communication must be unlimited in order to have meaning, and deprived of meaning, it will not satisfy you completely. Yet it remains the only means by which you can establish real relationships, which have no limits, having been established by God. Communication must be unlimited in order to have meaning. Bodies are limits on communication. He's saying that when communication is deprived of meaning, it will not satisfy you completely. Yet it remains the only means by which you can establish real relationships, which have no limits, having been established by God. In the holy instant, where the great rays replace the body in awareness, the recognition of relationships without limits is given you. But in order to see this, it is necessary to give up every use the ego has for the body. We can even say for relationships. It is necessary to give up every use the ego has for the body or for relationships, and to accept the fact that the ego has no purpose you would share with it. For the ego will limit everyone to a body for its own purposes. And while you think it has a purpose, you will choose to utilize the means by which it tries to turn its purpose into accomplishment. This will never be accomplished. Yet you have surely recognized that the ego, whose goals are altogether unattainable, will strive for them with all its might, and will do so with the strength that you have given it. But it is impossible to divide your strength between heaven and hell, God and the ego, and release your power to creation, which is the only purpose for which it was given you. Love would always give increase. Limits are demanded by the ego and represents its demands to make little and ineffectual. Limit your sight of a brother to his body, which you will do as long as you would not release him from it, and you have denied his gift to you. Limit your sight of a brother to his body, which you will do as long as you would not release him from it, and you have denied his gift to you. His body cannot give it, and seek it not through yours. Yet your minds are already continuous, and their union need only be accepted, and their loneliness in heaven is gone. If you would but let the Holy Spirit tell you of the love of God for you, and the need your creations have to be with you forever, you would experience the attraction of the eternal. No one can hear him speak of this and long remain willing to linger here. For it is your will to be in heaven, where you are complete and quiet, in such sure and loving relationships that any limits is impossible. It's beautiful. It's very clear. Jesus is very clear on purpose. This is why we practice also today's lesson. I'm determined to see this differently. That's the way to practice, to undo this limit on communication.
What chapter and section was that?
Chapter 15, section 9, the holy instant and the attraction of God. Yeah, beautiful. Does anyone have any sharing this morning?
Last night, I had a dream, but not remember very clear. It's the Holy Spirit that's with me, you say. It's incredible. But my dream is like body is like the body no more. I don't know. I don't remember good. Yeah. But when I read it, reading this, I remember.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, because. And my meditation is like, okay, Jesus, I will remember my dream last night. Please help me for remember, because it's very beautiful. Now not remember. Even finish meditation, you're reading this, it's like, what?
Wow.
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful. There was another section that came in first. The branching of the road. Do you know that one? It talks about that it's another one. Yeah, different. It talks about a shift when you cannot go further the same road as you have taken because it leads to nowhere. You need to go either left or right.
Yeah.
Make a decision. Yeah, that was the first section I opened up to. Yeah. That also feels significant. Yeah. Strange. It's not so strange, but that's the one that opens up a lot. This book.
Yeah, I also had a dream about communication beyond the body. Yeah. With a little child that had some disability, for lack of a better word. And it was at the beach. And I went over because he had sand in his mouth. And he was a very young child, like 4. And I helped him get the sand out of his mouth. But then he couldn't really speak anyway. And there was just a lot of love and tenderness. And there's just looking at each other. And I was just taking care of him. But, not... Yeah, it was... And then his mother was there, and she was just... Yeah, it was beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. His name was Matthew, which I don't know. I don't know if there's a connection or not, but...
I had the thought it was you when you were saying it.
I ever thought you were the same one.
Yeah.
To go further, yeah.
It's beautiful when you remember the connection, yeah. And okay, it's a dream, but no problem because you feel this connection, yeah.
Real.
When the Holy Spirit, or maybe Jesus, because for me normally it's Jesus all the time, but I remember last night in my dreams the Holy Spirit very clear, yeah. It is connection. It's, oh my God, it's very strong. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I want this all the time, everything.
Yeah.
It's for this and now in my meditation, it's like I won't remember, please. Because no, it's very clear my dream now. I only remember my connection in this moment in my dream. But it's like it's one dream, but it's a dream, but it's very real. Understand me? You understand?
Yeah. It doesn't really matter if it seems to be a dream in the night. It's real. When you have a real experience, it's not a dream. Lovely.